Welcome to a new video with the electric trucker. This week the expedition vehicle is officially reaching completion and being presented to the public for the very first time. In previous videos you saw the construction, modifications and wrapping, but one crucial element is still missing. The electric motorcycle, which I will pick up in this video. The motorcycle is so brand new that it isn't even registered yet, so I have to transport it myself with the company's Tesla Model 3 before I'll pick up my finished expedition rig and mount the bike on it. I arrived in the Honda motorcycle showroom. I've spotted a few really awesome models. First up, this Honda Africa Twin. It's a massive adventure enduro bike. Honestly, you could do a full round-the-world trip on this bike alone, but obviously it's a gas bike. But right here are the electrified models. There are two scooters, both fully electric, but as you can imagine, I'm not mounting a small city scooter onto the back of an expedition truck. So the search continues, but I think I spotted something out front. And here she is, prepped and ready for pickup. A fully electric Honda WN7. This is Honda's very first full-sized electric motorcycle. Here's the key, a pretty sleek keyless entry fob. You simply keep it in your pocket, hit the start button, and you're good to ride. Unlike many other electric bikes that attempt to hide the battery, Honda embraces it in the overall design. Right here in the frame sits a 9.3 kilowatt-hour NMC battery block. Managing weight is always critical on a motorcycle, and they've integrated this pack seamlessly into the chassis. Instead of a traditional chain, it utilizes a belt drive system. Belt drives are quiet, low maintenance and feature low wear rates, making them a perfect match for an electric powertrain. On the other side, you'll spot a single-sided swing arm that leaves the rear wheel fully exposed, giving the bike a premium aesthetic. The electric motor delivers up to 50 kilowatts of output, roughly 68 horsepower, and comes in two variants. First is the standard A2 category model for riders with an unrestricted license. Honda also offers an A1 rated version capped to the classic 125 cubic centimeters power output class, making it accessible on lower tier driver's licenses. The hardware on both models is completely identical. The A1 version is simply detuned via software. If you peek behind the fairing, you'll see heavy orange high voltage cables. The WN7 runs a high voltage battery architecture operating up to 350 volts, a rarity in the motorcycle industry where low voltage packs are typically used to trim costs. That high voltage system unlocks a massive advantage right here where the gas tank would normally sit. It features a Type 2 port for AC charging, but also a CCS fast charging port. Having DC fast charging capability on a motorcycle in this price segment is practically unheard of. Usually only ultra expensive high-end electric bikes offer this. On CCS fast charging, this pack goes from 20% to 80% state of charge in 30 minutes. That makes this bike genuinely road trip capable, not just for short city commutes. If I'm parked at a remote charging station, I can unstrap the bike and go explore the surrounding region, which is what a world tour is all about. It also serves as a scout vehicle to check tight roads or find alternative chargers without driving a massive heavy rig into a dead end. This is definitely a special transport. It's a blast seeing that view in the rearview mirror, the Honda WN7 looking right back at me with those iconic headlights. It's great that you can leave the rear camera feed running while driving. In the Tesla, you can bring it up on the display anytime, and you can even toggle on the blind spot cameras, which are incredibly useful when towing a trailer. There is still the phantom braking with the Tesla. Some things never change. Bringing this Honda WN7 along was my top choice. Sure, it isn't a dedicated off-road machine, but it doesn't need to be. It has plenty of ground clearance and will get some more fitting tires later as well. As I was researching bikes to bring along, I went through tons of test reports for the WN7 and competitor models, but none of those reviews really resonated with me. They're packed with technical jargon, but always carrying an underlying bias, complaining that range is limited, charging takes too long, and that gas bikes are superior. My perspective is that there's an entire demographic out there that would never buy a combustion motorcycle in the first place. People who simply don't want a loud, smelly bike. Whether for commuting or pure weekend fun, a bike like this offers an incredible mobility solution with significantly lower operating costs than an electric car. That audience deserves content tailored to them, and my channel is the perfect venue to highlight those benefits. I personally would never buy a gas motorcycle, never, but definitely a machine like this. I pitched the idea to Honda Germany, using this journey to introduce a brand new demographic to electric riding. They loved the concept and said, "Toby, let's do it. We're sponsoring a Honda WN7 for your world tour." Now here's the funny part. I don't even have a motorcycle license yet. Technically, I'm not allowed to ride it until I completed a license extension. Nano helped me unload the bike, and now you hold down the brake lever and hit the start button, and the display switches over to ready. You have these buttons right here marked reverse and forward. If you press and hold one, it engages a low-speed crawling mode where the throttle response becomes super smooth and precise, working for both forward and reverse maneuvering. You simply restart the bike to exit that mode, and then you're ready to ride normally. The headlight came on automatically. Looks like it has a built-in ambient light sensor. Now we'll store the bike inside for a couple of days until I return with the expedition truck. I'm back in Oldenburg at Intex, where they finished the wrap in record time. Mike is still on site to hand over my eActros 600. It's parked right inside there.
Wow.
Man, doesn't this look incredible? Seeing design drawings is one thing, but witnessing these vibrant colors shine in person is a completely different experience. I couldn't be happier with it. Along the side profile, we have the complete world map design. The idea behind these tracking dots is to color code the exact route as the journey unfolds. I didn't want to lock in a rigid path beforehand, which is why they aren't pre-marked. Surrounding it are our partners, Blissmobile for the cabin, Daimler Truck for the eActros chassis, Michelin for the tires, Intex for the custom wrap, DHL for global shipping logistics, Alpitronic for charging infrastructure, Krowag for insurance, and Honda for the WN7 motorcycle being mounted onto the rear today. Lower down, we listed the core vehicle specs, Mercedes eActros 600 with its battery capacity and power output ratings. We included the exact same breakdown for the Honda WN7. It's super helpful to have those technical details displayed whenever the vehicle is parked at events. The main goal was to make it stand out without looking like a military vehicle. And here's a highlight familiar to world travel rigs: fuel labels. Except instead of diesel or naphtha, to avoid misfueling, ours clearly labels that this machine runs strictly on high voltage electricity. Time for our very first charging session as a fully fledged expedition vehicle. Where we stop doesn't matter too much, but since the vehicle is brand new, these LFP battery packs benefit from periodic calibration early on. Daimler even included a reminder sticker inside the cab about balancing the pack. It was charged to 100% during production, but during the initial delivery run, it likely only received partial fast charging top-offs. Taking any risks with an uncalibrated battery management system makes no sense, so plugging in here is the smart move. We're taking a short break where they have a row of fast chargers set up, and there's a standard production eActros 600. It's awesome seeing the structural differences side by side. That standard semi uses dual rear wheels, standard ride height, side aero fairings behind the cab, and a fifth wheel coupling. By contrast, our expedition rig runs air suspension set to off-road height, single high flotation rear tires, and an extended chassis frame running all the way to the rear instead of a fifth wheel. Different configurations, but built on the exact same DNA. The great advantage of a tractor unit is that by unhooking the trailer, you can maneuver into almost any standard charging stall, taking up no more footprint than a large SUV. With a rigid chassis plus our rear motorcycle carrier, the total length sits around 7.5 to 8 meters. At a location like this, pulling up alongside the stalls works fine, but at many highway charging hubs, a rig this long would block the road. You know what's super funny? When you're driving a truck, you usually flash your high beams to signal to other drivers that they're clear to merge back in. I do that all the time in the eActros. With a standard setup, I'd say 50% of drivers thank you and 50% don't. But with these huge auxiliary spotlights mounted up front, flashing your high beams carries way more weight. Now, every single person thanks me. So, we have this hydraulic motorcycle carrier. You lower the rack all the way to the ground, roll the bike up and let the front wheel slot into the front wheel chock. Once it drops into that cradle, it's locked in and can't roll backward. Then we applied a strap through the front wheel rim and another through the rear wheel rim, anchoring the bike firmly in place. Next, we used this specialized tire harness strap. It cinches down tightly over the rear tire so nothing gets scratched. Normally, you're loading a dual sport or adventure enduro with an exposed steel frame that you can easily brace against. On this bike, there was nowhere to attach it. You can't clamp onto the main battery casing, and clamping lower down on the frame created too steep of an angle, bending downward under tension instead of absorbing the forces. We needed a solution tonight, so we improvised and routed a heavy-duty strap across the body. Tomorrow we'll brainstorm a long-term solution. Now let's test the remote control. You plug it into the side socket and the hydraulic lift should operate. This system is rated to hoist 500 kilograms. The spare tire alone weighs 100 kilograms and the bike comes in at 217 kilograms. It's interesting to take a look at the axle load indicators now. Earlier, the readings were around 7.2 tons on the front axle and 8 tons on the rear. You might assume that mounting a 200 kilogram motorcycle onto the back simply adds 200 kilograms to the rear axle, but in reality the leverage effect is huge. Because of the rear frame overhang, plus extending the load even further out with the motorcycle carrier, it creates a lever that presses down hard on the rear. The rear axle load actually increased by 400 kilograms, while the front axle load dropped by 200. Overall, the weight distribution remains completely balanced and relaxed. On a standard tractor-trailer running fully loaded, you naturally carry more weight over the rear axles than the front anyway, and you don't feel any difference in handling at all. We're now at the trade show, and I figured out a great solution to securely mount the Honda onto the carrier. We kept the classic tie-down method on the wheel rims like we had before, along with the rear harness strap, which pulls the bike tightly into the cradle so it can't move. The real secret trick, though, is taking the play out of the suspension. On smooth German highways, suspension travel isn't a huge deal, but once you start driving off-road through the backcountry, a free-floating suspension allows way too much movement. We placed a small wooden block underneath the frame. When the bike sits flat, the block slides right underneath with a tiny bit of clearance. Then we compress the front forks using tie-down straps and run matching straps on both sides, pulling diagonally back toward the rack frame. With 4 heavy-duty ratchet straps, 2 front rim straps plus the rear wheel harness, the bike doesn't budge a single millimeter because it rests solidly against the frame underneath. The truck is finally done, and you've seen in the previous videos how many people pitched in to pull this off. Everyone did outstanding work to get us standing here today. Next to us is the Helgeth Unimog. Out of hundreds of vehicles at this show, the only 2 factory-backed electric concepts ended up parked right next to each other. In commercial logistics, you can win people over purely on operating costs because an electric truck is simply cheaper to run per kilometer. In the expedition world, it comes down to mindset and passion. And this build might just mark the beginning of a whole new era for electric expedition vehicles. The custom vinyl wrap turned out phenomenal. Taking a chance on a design concept without running it through a committee was a slight risk, but everyone who stops by keeps complimenting it. Even the portable Alpitronic charging station got wrapped to match. Thank you all for supporting the channel, and a massive thanks to every single project partner who made it possible for this rig to stand here today. Have a great day, and see you in the next video.